Welcome to the 12 Days of Christmas Coping, brought to you by the Write or Die Show.
Hi, my name is Mary Elizabeth Jackson. I am an author, an advocate for special needs and disabilities, and a radio show host. I am a mom of 3. I've been parenting for over 24 years, and 2 of my kids are on the spectrum. So a lot of my life has been filled with learning about raising children on the spectrum, sensory, ADHD, all kinds of things have gone along with this journey of mine with my children. A lot of things I didn't see or expect to be parenting, but it has been great educationally. I decided after my 3rd child was born late in life, I did go and get certified through the Vanderbilt advocacy program to be able to not only be certifiably go in and advocate for my children, but for other families as well. And Randi-lee asked me to talk today about transitioning from school to the holidays smoothly, because it can be really difficult for children, especially your kiddos who are nonverbal or have language delay or have any behavioral challenges at all. That transitioning from that schedule at school or whatever daily routine they have, maybe even if they're homeschooled, to a less stringent, restricted schedule, to, the hustle and bustle of Christmas, the energy that's in the air that our kiddos are so sensitive to and picking up on. And, there's some really great ways to be able to transition and make it smooth for the whole family. I know I have items in my house that I have utilized throughout the years, and I kind of call it our toolbox. And my kiddos have learned along the way the things that help them as well. So I will say that communicating with your child in whatever fashion that is, whether it's, talking or sitting down as a family, or maybe going through OT therapy or speech therapy and having your therapist be a part of that talk, or even a therapist if you need it, so that you can, discuss with your child, okay, this is what's coming. The more aware that they are of what's coming, the better off their transition is. Now, another thing that really helps, because kiddos at school usually have routines, of course, they all have routines, but they also have visual schedules that they can see. So if you're not implementing this at home, it's a good idea to start using it during the holidays. And you can look up online for visual schedules and samples of things like that. And you can either use written schedules that are visual to see, of course, but you could also use pictures, so you can let your kiddos know, okay, so today this is what we're doing. We're getting up, we're eating, then we have to go shopping, or we're decorating, or we're visiting family, or we're making food, or we're baking cookies, or whatever that is, or you're going to grandma's house or an aunt and uncle's house or something, or dad's watching you while mom's working or dad's working, or whatever your situation is. The best thing to do is to have that so that a child can actually see that visually. Okay. We take in the world through 9 different ways, actually more than that. We're all sensory beings, and we all experience the world through our senses. Now, we mainly talk about the 5 senses: the seeing, the tasting, the smelling, the feeling, the hearing. But scientists say we have almost up to 33 different senses. But I'm going to focus on the ones that we usually use. Now, since we're all sensory beings, transitioning for all of us can be challenging during the holidays and school ending and summer's coming, that kind of thing. And even transitioning back into all those routines can be challenging. And the older we get, I think the harder those shifts are. Now, a lot of us are desensitized to these things. But for our kiddos, we have to remember they're little mini versions of us running around. So if we feel things a lot, you got to know these little guys feel things a lot. And so behaviors, communication. So when a child is throwing a fit, screaming, yelling, maybe they're throwing things, that's a behavior that's trying to communicate with you that something is going on with them and they need your attention and they don't feel like they're being heard. So if it's possible to be able to get a child to sit down and then talk with them about what's happening. Hey, why are you acting like this? And they may say, I don't know. So then prompt them with questions of, well, do you need something to eat? Do you need something to drink? Do you need a nap? Do you need to go outside and play and expel some of this energy that you have? And what you're doing in those moments is teaching a child how to start to understand the signals that are happening in their body. Now, we're not taught this from when we're little. And the only time we're taught these kind of things is if somebody's teaching it to us, and or we're with somebody who's more aware about this. So it's not by nature that we usually learn how to understand those signals happening in our body. But I do know that children who have ADHD, children on the spectrum, children with delays and challenges can learn how to start understanding what's happening inside them, and then be able to help them go from A to B to C so they get to a better place. They can help self-regulate, regulate back into a more normal, frame of mind, more normal behavior. And sometimes this takes the whole family, but these are things that I have used with my children. My guy's 11 and he is on the spectrum, and he was nonverbal. And my second child was also. My second one would scream at me all the time because she couldn't speak the English language. And so she screamed all the time. And of course, for the nervous system, that's a really, really, really difficult, challenging thing to deal with. So I did use visual pictures with her. I used the first we're doing this, then we're doing this. And it really opened the doors to the communication with my daughter and her getting to better understand what was coming in her life, what the next steps were, what she could be expecting, and to not be afraid. Because sometimes when things are transitioning in a child's life, you're going from one thing to the next, it can be fearful for them because it feels like a loss of control. So part of the reason I'm talking to you about this is awareness and becoming more aware of transitioning can be hard for my child. It may not be that they're bad. It may be that it's too much for them to go from done all day long at school to either doing nothing at home, having that rest time. We all need the downtime, but sometimes it needs to be organized for them so that they know what's coming next in their life and they know what's next on the schedule for the day. And even if you have time that it's like, we're not going to be doing anything at this time, or we're just going to watch TV, we're going to binge a cartoon or holiday shows, we're just going to sit in our jammies, we're going to, things like that. You can also tell your children, okay, this is what we're going to do now, so that there is flexibility and spontaneity and things like that can be refreshing. And so that things don't get old and feel very strict and rigid, because there's a place and time for all of this in our schedules every day. I know I'm trying to implement this more and more with my kids. And I say kids, my girls are adults or young adults, but there's still so much here at home with us that I'm having to use this with all of us. So I would also implement an area in your home. If you don't already have this, implement an area in your home that is a sensory space or a sensory corner. And what I mean by that is a space that is filled with things that bring comfort and help you or your child to calm down, relax. Nice music is really good. Low lighting is good. Comfortable seating is good. And there's so many sensory items out there that are wonderful even for adults and like I said, we're all sensory beings and we all experience the world with our senses. So this is not just for children who are highly sensitive, empathic, ADHD, on the spectrum. Maybe they have Down syndrome. Maybe they have another kind of challenge. These things can help all of us. And as a family, then we can work together to kind of regulate our whole family. Now, I know in my house, if we're all together, or maybe we've gone to some event or done something together. We come home. A lot of times everybody will sort of disperse into their own area. Maybe it's the sofa or the bedroom, or maybe, the living room or somewhere, and they're having some downtime. So we try to really honor that in our house, because I know that they are kind of rebooting themselves from being out wherever we've been. Or, when my son comes home from school, I always let him play outside for a little while, and he asks me now, he knows that he needs to dispel everything from school that he's gone through, the sitting still sitting in a chair and going from class to class, and all the things he's trying to learn. And for a guy who's on the spectrum and has ADHD, he's got to have that time to decompress, because he's trying to do certain things all day long. And some of that goes against his own inner instincts of things. And so the way that we bring some balance into that is to allow him to have that space and time to jump and run and throw the ball. He's a boy, so he's got a lot of testosterone. So to do all those things that kids need to do, when he was a child, I had a mini trampoline forever in the house because he wanted to do that on the sofa. And I was like, you can't do that on the sofa. You can't do that on the furniture. You might fall and get hurt and break something. So I had to teach him, okay, this is your space to jump when you are feeling that all this inside that you don't know what to do with, whether it's fear, anxiety, it's excitement, it's nervousness. But one of the things that's really good to start doing, no matter how young your child is, start to help them identify what they're feeling, and then give them a solution to work through it or process it or let it go, so that they can then re-regulate themselves. And all of these I have used in my life with my children. I still use them every day. I use them for myself, even when it's needed. I wanted to recommend a couple of books that I love. And there's a lot out there. There's books in your library. There's books on Amazon. You just type in ADHD or raising a child with autism, or, things like that. Now, this one is called the ADHD Parenting Guide for Boys. And it's Richard Bass has got quite a few books out now, and he talks about different things. He's got a book for girls too. This is a wonderful book. I have love this book. And then Parenting Children with ADHD, 10 Lessons That Medicine Cannot Teach. So I'm always looking for the more natural things that I can do with my kids, with things that they need. And if they need medicine, then we do that. But whatever I can do natural for my children has always been what my go-to is, because it helps the body regulate much more gentle and much more easy. And I hope that some of these things have been very helpful to you. So visual schedules are really great. Communication, talking about what's coming, letting a child know, hey, we're going to go get pictures of Santa, or we're going to eat dinner first, then we're going to go get pictures of Santa, or we're going to an event or a party, or we're going to go listen to music. And obviously you're going to have to, you know your child best. I mean, sometimes my son still needs his headphones to block noise out. Sometimes he does not. So he has gotten more and more desensitized to things as the years have gone on, and children normally will do that. But, if you need support and help in where you are in your life, reach out for that support. Call, research and look up any services in your area, nonprofit organizations, talk to a neighbor, talk to family. Reach out, and don't try to do this by yourself if you are overwhelmed. It is overwhelming raising parenting children. It's overwhelming, period. So when we bring a child in and then we're raising them and they've got challenges, it really does change the playing field for us. So what that means is it changes the stress level for us, and it can be exponential sometimes. So we need to have that support system around us. And sometimes we need just that time to ourselves to reboot for us. Remember, we're big kids and they're little kids, and we're all going through some of the very same things in life. And so what we're feeling, they're feeling too. So remember, those schedules are really helpful. Visuals are really helpful. Communication, sensory spaces or sensory box, like you have a box that's got things in it that your child loves, And you can research. Amazon's got everything. Other stores have things that are helpful. You can find things around your house to use. I know when my guy was little, I would take my colander, my metal colander, and give him spaghetti noodles, and he'd have him stick them in the holes of the colander so I could just cook dinner. But he was busy, but he was calm and he was focused, and it was healthy for him. So we want to look for those healthy outlets for our children, and we want to teach them about themselves, how to understand themselves. And you know what? If you need to get a book and read about it, then get a book to read about it. If you need to research, then research. And I say all of that is power. We want to go from a position of feeling like you may possibly feel like a victim, or woe is me and my life is so hard and things like that, because it's so easy for us to feel that way. But we want to get to a place where we are more empowered as a parent. So we are teaching our children how to be more empowered in life. No matter what kind of challenge they have, they can still be empowered in this life. So I hope this helps you have a easier transition from school into the holidays, and that you're able to have a wonderful holiday season this year, no matter what that looks like for you. So blessings, everyone.
Thanks for watching the 12 Days of Christmas Coping. And remember, the only way to end the stigma of mental health is to speak openly and honestly.